I've recently learned that there's a version of humans whose brains are built in a way that's called aphantasia. And aphantasia means they don't have the connections through which one can create a visual image in their mind. And it's like, I'd never heard of that until really recently, the last few years. They didn't know, right? But now they can map the brain in all those different ways, and they're finding all kinds of cool stuff about the brain now that they can see it functioning in real time. So anyway, for the recording, so thank you, Dinara. Dinara is the one that instigated this. And in some context, I had mentioned that uh, Lama Devora had at one point shared insights into how to become a visualizer when you weren't, because she apparently wasn't, and then learned this method from somebody, I don't recall who, and put it into practice and became a visualizer. So she offered to share this with the group just starting our great retreat. When we first started retreat, there was a month that we were in when we were finishing cabins and starting. So we hadn't actually started our practice sessions. And that meant, that different things could happen. So she offered this, and she did do it verbally, where generally, even if you, anyway, so I went looking for my notes from that class because I did take careful notes, and I couldn't find them. But what I remember is what I'll share. And then I did, Google it and see that there are many different methods for improving visualization capacity. And then, in Diamond Way, the creation stage Diamond Way is all about visualizing things that we're wanting to be able to create. And it's frustrating as a non-visualizer. But on the other hand, it's like for non-visualizers, when you think something, it becomes. And I'd always wondered about that. And then I had an astrological natal chart done once, years ago. And one of the explanations of that says, when you think something, it becomes real. Like it was some specific message to me. And I just parked that in there somewhere. And then as I was meeting the Dharma and seeing this particular Dharma that's about visualizing everything, it was like, but I can't. And then it was like, wait a minute, all I have to do is think it. And it becomes real. And so I convinced myself that, although there wasn't the image there, behind what was there was all this cool stuff going on, right? And I just kept the story going. And it became very real and very powerful and very potent. But at some point, the thinking has to stop. And the reality needs to go on. And so that's where the advantage of visualizing all of this is. You start out thinking the visualizing into being, but then as you burn it in, you just, hit the play button and the whole video goes. And as you're doing the video, right, you're in it, you're planting seeds. So that whole creation stage is about planting seeds as this being who is emanating love, compassion, wisdom, and doing the on the billion planets saving the world thing. And it's like, okay, I buy the party line. We'll try it on for size. And then when I came out of retreat, Somebody introduced me to blanking out on his name, the chiropractor who was in a bike race and got run over by the car, and his spine was all destroyed. And as a chiropractor, he knew his anatomy really well, and so he refused all the surgeries. Do you know who I'm talking about? Dispenza, Joe Dispenza. I met the teachings of Joe Dispenza, and I read his book, and it was describing how visualizing, right, changes matter. And it's like, that's true if things are empty of being the matter they seem to be, then you can take crushed up matter and visualize it back to normal, better than normal, which he did. And he's like one of many people who've been all mangled physically and visualized themselves wholer than they were before they got in the accident. So then they look back and they go, man, the best thing that ever happened to me was that accident, because now I know, right, that believing is seeing instead of seeing is believing. So there is a power in being able to visualize clearly. So it is worth the effort to try to grow that. And if you decide to make the effort, then you be the judge in terms of how important is it to focus my attention on making that effort according to the results I'm getting, compared to focusing my effort on other aspects of my practice, that work, visualized or not, right? So for instance, the Mahamudra practice does not do any visualization. Isn't that a relief? No, you are experiencing in Mahamudra. And we're going to experience right into shamatha and right into the direct perception of emptiness experience. No visualization necessary, except at the beginning, right? To set yourself up. So don't feel less than if you're in the category of non-visualizer, right? Different roads lead to Rome. But that said, science says when we visualize, the more complete the visualization is in terms of all the sensory input included, the more the brain cannot determine between real and imagined. So to me, that says that the seed planting that we're doing in visualizing and the seed planting that we're doing in what we call real life is not any different. We can have a real life experience that doesn't actually have all those sensory inputs happening. And so we can have an imagined planting that also only has partial. But the more we have, the more complete, the more reality lines get blurred. And in a sense, we're trying to blur our reality lines, not blur them to the point of mental illness. It's a danger. But blur them to the point of recognizing that reality is not what we think it is. To start to crack that belief in seeing is believing instead of believing is seeing. Okay, so how do we do it? Lama Devoras started out by saying, you may think you're not a visualizer, but you are. So first off, redefine your belief in yourself that, oh, I have aphantasia, right? I can't visualize no matter what. No, We lack any self-nature whatsoever. So we are visualizers. How do we know? You see. You see now. So you do see in your mind's eye, because what you're seeing is really just a mental image that we believe is a thing outside that I'm seeing. So we are already visualizing all the time anyway. So hooray, pat yourself on the back. Then we intentionally practice seeing ourselves make something visual physically, stare at it, and then close your eyes and pretend you do it, even though you don't see anything behind your eyelids. You pretend you do. And then you open up and you draw it again. You see yourself do it. Close your eyes, draw it. Just again and again and again. Then I'm going to add to that karmically speaking, to try to improve my visualization by drawing my A and staring at it and closing my eyes, maybe it'll be effective, maybe it won't. To increase its likelihood, I would take my little clipboard to somebody who wants to learn to visualize better, and I'd say, let's do this together, right? I'll write the A for you. You see it being written, close your eyes, see it being written. Then you do it for me, right? And then we'll do it together, and then I'll do it for myself to improve the likelihood of it working when we do it ourselves. Because technically anything we do won't work for us unless we have the seeds ripening for helping somebody else. Then in that same train of thought, we can think back, have I ever helped somebody see something more clearly that they weren't seeing? Have I ever helped somebody visualize something? Have I ever helped somebody see something more clearly, right? You think outside the box for seeds that you already have for helping to see something in a new way or to visualize. And all right, I do have these seeds, right? I can do this. If it's what the way that I can help the world bigger, faster, better, then let's ripen these seeds. So I'm going to do it for you. So I'm going to use the alphabet. You could, well, maybe I'll not use the alphabet because your alphabet's different than my alphabet. So it won't help you so much if I do my alphabet in anyway. Let's do something different. Okay, watch as this thing, sorry for the glare. There we go. As this thing happens. Supposed to be a flower. So you saw it develop. Now you see this image. So as you look at the image, like in your mind space, think it through. Curve, 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 curve. 4 curves. Black dot. String, stem. That big. Over there. Identify it again. As you're looking at it, go backwards. Loop, 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 loop. Center, string. Just look at it. Now remember it. Do you remember what was there? Loop, 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 center, string. Now close your eyes. Remember it. Loop, 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 center, string. Whether you see it or not, is it there? Yeah. Okay, drop it. Let's try another one. That's supposed to be a tree. Is that better? That's not really a tree. Let's try again. More tree than brain, right? Okay, so you look at it. Identify. Look, there's this little glitch here. How big is it? Go backwards around it. Burn it in. Get ready. Remember it. Got it? Even with the little glitch. Now close your eyes and remember it again. Now it's in there somewhere. I don't know. The chalkboard behind your forehead. Draw it. So is it there, whether you see it or not? Yeah. Okay, so now, what do you actually see when you close your eyes? In mine, it's not white. It's not a blank screen. It's dark. And when I look at it, it's got little pixel things doing stuff. So it's not just empty, and it's not just black, and it's not just white, and it's not just clear. So it takes a little bit of like figuring out, how do I draw a tree on this black, dark, pixelated space, and what's it going to show up as? And it's like, okay, maybe it's just, you know how on your phone you can turn it to reverse and everything goes black and you have white letters instead of black letters on a white background, you've got black background with white letters. Same thing. Like find the switch or whatever that's called in your mind and use a white marker to make your tree. So let's go back to our flower. Tulip. Burn it in. It's black on white, however. curve, curve. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stem. Got it? Remember it on the board. Close your eyes, remember it in your mind. And then push that button that turns it from black on white to white on black. Maybe it pops out. Don't struggle, just think it. If it doesn't pop in, go back to it's there, whether I see it or not. Not just saying so, but it's like, wow, I know it's there somewhere. I just don't see it. So in the various instructions for improving, actually the instructions are about improving memory. And the way you improve memory is by to increase your ability to visualize curiously. And, you take any object that you hold in front of you or set in front of you, and you examine it carefully first. Like really pay attention to what it looks like. They recommend a candle. And you look at the candle, what does the flame look like? You really talk it through in your mind, the details. And every time you do it in the same sequence, right? The flame looks like this. Its color is that. If I got close to it, it would get hotter and hotter until it burned me. It's burnt the candle a third of the way down. There's drippy wax over here, hard wax over there, right? Really go through the details sequentially the same way every time. And then build it back up. And there's one. And then rebuild the sequence without looking at the candle. Like we did it, still looking at the board, but the thing erased. That's why I like it that way. You can erase it and look, right? And in your mind's eye, you could see it, right? You couldn't see it, didn't make it there on the board, but we knew what we were looking at. That's like looking through the visualization and not quite seeing it, but it had to be there. It was there in our memory. And then we closed our eyes and tried to see it there. And maybe it was and maybe it wasn't, but you knew that it was, whether you saw it or not. That to me is as important as having the picture there, is to know it's there, whether you see it or not, as you're visualizing. So, when we start class, see that holy being in front of you. It's like, there they are. Full on, all their glowing splendor. What color are they? I don't know. Right? They're just there. What do they feel like? An amazing hug. Right? Maybe it's a sensation through which, or an emotion through which your visualization practice functions. Okay? And that's great. To get the visual more clear, we can do these different exercises to fine tune our ability. So that, just a sec, Tom. So the exercise is to see yourself make something. That's where the candle is a little bit falls short, in my opinion. Draw something. So you see yourself create it, stare at it, identify each of the pieces of it really clearly, mentally go through that. Then erase it or change the page and look as if you're seeing it. And then close your eyes and know that it's there. And then what do I see? Do I see anything? What will start to happen, says Lama Devora, is you'll see yourself like the flower. You'll see yourself draw it on that black chalkboard, draw it in white. And then there'll be this teeny little fleeting after image of actually the shape. And it's like, wow, was that it? And then it's gone. Great. Try it again. And that fleeting little after image is the beginning of the ability, the seeds ripening, able to be able to think something into a visual. So yes, Tom.
I didn't realize that would be the like example that you're be giving. So I wanted to say that it's actually a really well-known test that they do for people with ADHD and dyslexia to understand your visual brain. So it's something that you can do very playful. I've done those tests like as a child multiple times. And one other thing is someone testing you, like there is someone like an adult sitting, like a psychologist sitting next to you, and there is going to be an image, and it starts very simple, like a house, right? Like for like a square and like a triangle, and then you have to draw it, and then that house, like through like this is a few hours practices, will get more complex. But one of the things that they do, and in the tester asking you questions about the visualization. So you're also like using your words to learn to describe the image and understand the shape in like space, if that makes sense. And then you also practicing in drawing it. So maybe the first time will be like, after 5 minutes, you looked at an image and now you're gonna like draw it. And and then you continue doing another thing, and then you're gonna come back to it, and now you're gonna draw it again. So one of the steps that was really helpful is like to speak it out, and to as also as you're looking at those images is to say, like you were drawing the flowers. I said, oh, Lama Sarahni was starting from the left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 like half circles. In the middle, a big circle continuing into a loop. Like I was describing it as she was going. And
Yes.
then yeah, so basically it's like use your words and then physically do it, and then you can actually visualize it, or even like get glimpses of it. So they would do it with words, they would do it with like physical objects. So there is tests like this that you can just like practice, but and repeat it, and then there are the images. I don't remember if you were kids, like they will take the same image and do a duplicate and then remove items out of it, and then you have to compare. So those also help in visualization because you have to remember what was in the original.
Nice.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Good. So yeah, you could draw a clock, for instance. You can use numbers, anything. And that verbal clues, as Tom points out, is helpful for triggering this sequence of creating. And actually in Diamond Way creation stage, that's what the sadhana is. It's the speaking of what it is that we're visualizing. And it's happening in real time. As you speak it, it is happening in your mind's eye, but doesn't have to be limited right to back here in terms of your seed planting. Okay. Another version of this is to use an object that you hold. So a familiar object that you know what it is. For this example, you'd hold an apple. And as you're looking and examining the apple, you're including in the examination, right, what it feels like, what you anticipate it would taste like if you were to bite it. Nope. If it has a fragrance, smell it. So that then when you set down your apple, right, hold your hand and remember it, you're remembering not just the visual, but the fragrance, the texture, the solidity of it, the anticipated taste of it. You're remembering all of that. And then when you drop that and go inside your head, if that's where your visualization takes place, put that apple there and include not just its color and shape, but the awareness of the texture. You don't need your fingers to know that that apple is smooth and firm, except in that one spot where it's soft and mushy, right? By having examined it, you don't need those sense powers to recreate it anymore. And kind of additional proof of the emptiness of the apple, right? And it plays into the experiment we did with the object we didn't know what it was, and you were watching for the image to pop up into your mind. So even as non-visualizers, the identity of the thing popped into your mind, didn't it? And it may or may have not been a picture of the thing because we didn't have any visual of it, but you had its identity. And with that identity came a whole host of beliefs about it. You know, when stapler pops into your mind, its ability to staple things, and you have to squeeze it, and right, everything about stapler pops into your mind at the same time. Okay. Then stapler was there for you. Whether you saw it in your mind's eye or not, it was happening. You made it in that way. So our visualization is similar. If we think, oh, it needs to be like a movie running in my head or I'm not doing it, I think we're limiting ourselves, because it can be happening with the I don't know, the TV screen can be off and the movie's still playing. And we are experiencing it. And that's okay. But right, if we can trigger the seeds for it all to be in Technicolor, just how much more fun would that be? To be able to visualize in Technicolor. I don't know. I think maybe it would be a distraction for me, but it is a valuable tool and worth trying to see if you've got seeds that are just under the surface there, just waiting to pop out. And the way we would get them to pop is to help somebody else in their visualization. Whether they're a Dharma person or not, it doesn't matter, but maybe all the better if it's a Dharma person. So you see yourself create, because we're already creating, and then you examine it in detail, erase it and remember it, and then close your eyes and remember it. And then you can, in your closed eyes, also pretend you're drawing it again. Right? You don't do it with your finger. You do it behind your mind's eye chalkboard. See yourself draw it. See it show up. And then it'll pass by. And then as Tom's experiments or exercises go, you add detail. And more detail and more detail. Start with the flower. Then give the flower a color behind your mind's eye. Give it a fragrance. Give it a softness. Yeah. Then give it to somebody. Right? Once you've got your flower there, there's somebody behind the dark screen waiting. Offer it to them. Right? Eventually they show up too. Okay. So that's all I have to say. Play with it, explore it, help each other with it, and see what happens. So yes, Dinara?
Yeah, thank you, dear Lama. This is very, very helpful, and it actually makes sense, because I remember a couple of years ago I asked Geshe Michael in one of the retreats also a similar question about how to like what seeds can we plant to make our visualization like in more details. And he said something like, I will repeat it in my words as I remember. He said that when you do like everyday things, like making up your bed, for example, you do it like slowly, paying attention to the details, or washing the dishes, for example. And what you're saying now, I added two together. So you are trying to feel the texture, you're trying to pay attention to the colors and how it feels, how it smells, and all these details. And probably even to add to that, to close the eyes and try to repeat the whole procedure, for example, of making up your bed. And yeah, that's even easier, like you do it anyway, but now you do it with a purpose, and then it's really helpful.
Right. I remember years ago when I was an athlete, like playing competitive volleyball, nobody taught me to visualize, and I wasn't a visualizer, right? Still wasn't back then, but I would, before a match, I would think through the way that I would serve the ball, right? I had a particular unique kind of serve that I could manipulate that ball really well. And it was an underhand serve, which in college ball is just like kindergarten. And so everybody always sneered at my underhand serve. But I actually always made more points for the team with my serve than the others with their power serves, because their power serves so often went wrong, and mine were precision generated. And I would think how I did that, the details of what that would feel like before the match in great detail. And I didn't know that it was effective. I just thought that would be how I would be better prepared. And then, 20 years later, it's like everybody's doing visualization. I'm not saying I started it. I don't mean that at all. But it's like I didn't visualize myself doing it. I felt myself doing it. And that makes an imprint, a powerful imprint for me to be able to repeat it with a physical body, because I've done it in my mental body. So visualization is similar. Your visualizations are happening as you're following whoever's guiding you in the visualization. Whether you see it or not, it's happening. The trick then is to be both the guide and the visualizer when you don't have the feedback of the picture in your head. And the picture can come by these different steps. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't play anymore. My sister still does, and she's only 8 years younger than me. And the team she played on at the USVBA Nationals in May, they took first place in their age category, which is 50s, 60s. first place in the nation, my little sister, who's, you know, tall and big and really good. Yes, anyway. Okay, so have at it. Become good visualizers if you want, but know that you are already creators, right? So you are not lesser than in any way by way of not having the video playing in your forehead. It's okay. All righty? Thank
you so
you.
much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who am I sending the recording to? Okay.
You can send it to me or Rashana.
Okay, I'll send it to both of you. You can send it along. Okay.
Thank you.